So if you've literally tried all the things and nothing's worked and you're curious about whether there could be a solution, tune in to hear how Samantha went from feeling like it probably wouldn't work for her to actually surprising herself with just how much she could change, including feeling confident enough to actually apply for and get a new job.
Well, welcome, Samantha, to Joyful Eating. So, first of all, let's cast your mind back to before you joined the Naturally Healthy Club. What was your relationship with food and your body like way back then?
Yeah, that's a good question to begin with. I loved food. I loved cooking. I loved planning. I loved all of that. Um, and all of that also brought me stress. And as far as my relationship with my body, um, even though I loved cooking, I had a lot of guilt and shame around things that I would cook. I had a lot of guilt and shame around my body. I both loved and hated food,
Hmm.
both of those. I have probably started my first diet when I was 14. I was trying to think back to that, probably when I was 14. I just turned 55. So, what is that? 40 years of my life? So that was my relationship. It was a constant um, tug, a constant, oh, I'm going to be okay with it. Oh, I'm definitely not okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right. And so when you said like you'd feel guilt and shame about, so you'd cook stuff that you liked and that you it was inspiring, but then like was did the guilt and shame come in because it's like, oh, I shouldn't be eating fat or I shouldn't be eating carbs, or was it that type of
All of that at
that good
some
food, bad
point
food stuff?
in
Yeah.
time, it was all of that.
Yeah, right.
I would make these, what I thought were the best decisions at the time based on whatever diet or way of eating I was going to try that week. Okay, I was going to do this. And I might be excited about it in the moment. And it might be really healthy food or even something that I wanted at the time. But for whatever reason, I wouldn't want it, or I felt like I ate too much of it, or I mean, any and all of that with each thing, you
Yeah,
know?
right, right. Right. So it was like there were rules and then you weren't following the rules and that was causing the guilt and shame.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I couldn't follow whatever plan I came up with or somebody else came up with that this is what I should be eating, this is what I should be doing, then I felt like I was a failure. I didn't do it correctly. And this is why I'm unhappy with my weight. This is why I'm unhappy with my body. This is why food brings me so much stress
Yeah.
because I'm not doing it the way this person, this book, this program, this group, whatever it is telling me how it should be done.
Yes, right. Right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. And so yeah, so you were in this like kind of love-hate relationship with food.
absolutely.
Oh,
Which
and
made
I've
me
been
have a
there
love hate relationship with myself.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so before you decided to work with me in the Naturally Healthy Club, like what were your biggest concerns?
Um, well, that it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. That was definitely there. But I had tried so many things before and done so many things. Um, I was convinced that I was sort of, I guess, too far gone, you know. Um, I don't want to say hopeless case, but maybe I felt like
A little
that
bit, right.
a little bit, that, oh, you could do this, but I mean, chances are it's not going to work. It's just not going to happen for you. That was a big fear.
Yeah.
Um, it was also a fear that it would be really difficult for me. I think I was exhausted from all of the planning and all of the just the effort that so much that I've tried in the past took, that it just sort of overtook my life. And part of it that is just sort of my personality. If I can plan and make something complicated, I probably do that,
Yeah,
even though I
right.
don't necessarily want to. Um,
Human
but
human brain, Samantha.
yeah, yeah. But I think some things that folks attempt to make themselves healthier, or whatever it is they're trying to do require extensive planning. And I also was afraid that it would be something I really was miserable doing the entire time.
Right.
Whatever, that it was going to suck.
Right. So why did you decide to join, Samantha? Okay.
I
I'm not
basically
going to
thought it
get
was going to be
results.
like everything in the
It's
past.
going to suck. It's going to be like all these awful failed attempts in the past. Okay, so what made you decide to try it anyway?
Um, I well, I felt like, what do I have to lose? If
Right.
it doesn't work, then it's just like all the rest, and I'm back where I always was.
So you actually didn't, yeah. So it's actually like I can handle
I
all
had
that. I
nothing
can
to
handle
lose.
that disappointment. I can handle it feeling
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
sucking. And if it doesn't
yeah,
work, so there's nothing really to lose. But on the upside, if it does work, if Jules is right, like, yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I was also familiar with your other work and how transformative that was for me in many different ways. And I felt like, I if anybody's onto something, I feel like this lady is.
right, right. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So that
And
was
I
it.
was ready.
Tell
It
me more about
came to me at a time when I was ready.
it. Okay. And what circumstances had led you to being ready, do you think, Samantha? Like, how did you know?
Um, Physically, definitely I was miserable. I um I think I had come to a point where I knew I needed to lose weight. I knew I definitely needed to lose weight. But I had come to a point where it wasn't just about my weight. It was that I knew I physically needed to feel better. There were things I couldn't do anymore, or that were very difficult, because the more weight I carried on my body, the more things like my arthritis would bother me, and so on and so forth. And that, you hear that all the time. Oh, you're not as active because of this weight or that weight. And it it really started to impact that part of myself. Not that I was super active before, but I enjoyed going on walks, little hikes and things like that. And that was just miserable. That was just miserable. And just physically feeling, bloated all the time, all that kind of stuff. Just I was ready to not feel that anymore.
Right.
Not so much. I did not go into it with so much, I want to lose blank amount of weight. I went in it with, I want to feel physically better.
Yeah, right.
And that
Right.
was very different. I made that active choice that maybe I'll try it from this angle rather
Yeah.
than focusing on, pardon me, just losing the weight.
Yeah, cool. So it wasn't about a number. It was like your goal was
Mm-hmm,
around how you wanted to feel.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And do you think like the time of life that you're in at the moment, that was another thing that got was making you ready to change?
Menopause? uh, is that what you mean?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, I, you know, I think so because I I'm not that I don't think I read this anywhere, but I felt like um almost like, this is it, Sam. You've got to do this. You're nearly however old, and is this just how you're going to be the rest of your life? No, this is not how. I'm not going to be complacent with this. And I knew that weight itself was going to be more difficult to lose. I mean, we know that, right? Science shows that it's more difficult the older we get. And I did feel kind of a little bit like I was running out of time, at least in my mind, my time frame of, yeah,
But you were feeling
wanting to
that
be
sense of urgent.
my best self. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like I had given up literally enough of myself and my life to this other existence that I was sick and tired of. That's a lot of what it was. I was sick and tired of this being this other way. Yeah,
Yeah. And and it was it like you were feeling like you're missing out on stuff in life because
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I just wanted to be able to go on a walk and not dread it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simple. I love that. Okay, so let's talk about the positive stuff, Samantha. So what's been your favorite part about doing this work?
Uh, I think overcoming all of those fears,
Yeah,
literally
amazing.
all of those fears and the negativity that I had around those thoughts of it's not going to work, it's probably not going to work. I didn't go into it with it's not going to. For me, at that point in time, thinking that it could work, it might work, was a positive thought for me.
Yeah, amazing.
So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, I also think the skills that we learn, the ways of thinking that we learn, have really been easily transferable to other parts of my life.
Fun.
And without me even actively thinking about it, I can sometimes, go through my day and I think, what just, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. And that's been really exciting that I feel like I'm getting more bang for my buck, more bang for my efforts, that it's not just about my body and the way I feel, but also about my my thoughts and my actions, right? That's what we learned.
Yeah, yeah,
And that applies to everything. Yeah.
yeah. Can you think of a specific example where you've noticed that you've been coaching yourself in other areas of life? I'm putting you on the
Um,
spot.
yeah, I think, well, I have acquired a new job since I started this, and a position um, with a, I'll say a group, for lack of a better word, that I would not have even applied for previously.
Wow.
And I kind of went into it thinking, oh, well, what's the worst that could happen? I won't get that job. I already don't have that job. And yeah, and now I have that job. I couldn't believe it. Wow, they
Amazing.
called me. Wow, I have
Amazing.
an interview. Wow, they hired me.
Oh, so good, Samantha.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Wow, I didn't know
How's
that.
that for an example,
That's a
right?
very that's a good example. I love it. Yeah. Right. So it's like doing this has like it's not just about your health, it's about like your career as well. Like so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's sort of like a little bit of, I guess I say to myself quite a bit, well, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah.
Yeah. Worst case
It
scenario
helps me
then.
try things that maybe I wouldn't have before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And okay, so that's pretty big transformation. So what do you like what's been the biggest transformation that you've gotten from doing this work?
Well, I said that I've let those fears go. Um I I should restate that. Those are there.
Yeah, of course.
I think one of the biggest surprises has been that this hasn't been about necessarily avoiding our feelings or avoiding our thoughts, because we can't really make those things just disappear, right?
Yeah.
It's how we respond to them, and learning that those are normal, right? These fears that we have about whatever we're doing are normal. So that's been transformational.
Yes.
Knowing that that is normal, that it's not, there isn't something wrong with me. There isn't something, excessively depressive about me because I have those feelings, but how I respond to those, how my thoughts that I, my thoughts that I think about those feelings
Yeah, the
are what's different. And so I might still have some fears about things, but it's my thinking about those that's really changed. And so I would think one of the biggest transformations is that I know it's possible now.
right.
Not, oh, this might work, right? But now I know it's not only possible, but I know that I am going to get to the weight that I want. I'm not suddenly going to feel 25 again, but I know that I'm going to physically feel much better. I already feel much better than I would have if I had never done this. Yeah.
Amazing.
And that is huge for me. That is huge for me. I started off knowing that I weighed probably twice as much as I should. And I have lost half of that, close to about 25% of my body weight that I started with.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Um,
And
and
that's been over a year, hasn't it?
yes, yes, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Um, and with that, see, I can say that and not, I don't feel anything about that. I mean, I'm glad, but I don't feel the fear and the shame with that I would have before. That's huge for me. Um, and that's making me think that another huge thing that I have come that's come from this work is my um I don't have that fear of the scale anymore.
Ah,
And I definitely do see it as a tool. I I I knew that you saw it that way, that you tried to teach people that. And I do remember thinking, yeah, whatever, whatever. Yeah, I can
crazy
tell you right
lady.
now that part is not going to change, right? Um, because that has definitely been there since I was a teenager. And I don't know if you remember, but before I even started this work with you, I knew that that was going to be a stumbling block for me, or a potential stumbling block for me. So I tried to prep myself and said, okay, you're going to start weighing yourself every day. Can't believe it. Weighing yourself every day. And I think I did it for maybe 4 or 6 weeks before
Yeah,
we
before it
started.
started, I remember that. Yeah.
And just to try to get in the habit and try to get over just feeling like crap every time I looked at the that number. And I did, and I started keeping track. I used an app, just the free part. I didn't even pay. I kept looking for one that didn't list a BMI,
Uh,
because I didn't want to be constantly reminded of what somebody else thought I should be. And yeah, it it's amazing. It's amazing. I almost feel like if that's all I got out of this, it would be worth it.
right. So even if your weight
Yeah.
hadn't changed, but you just felt better about the number, like, and you didn't
Yeah.
have that
Yeah.
fear anymore of it, like,
Yeah.
isn't that cool? Like just that
But
knowledge is,
now I never thought I'd get to that point where, um, I think as you've talked about it, as it's just data, but it's just data. Every now and then I might, oh, this is going to be up today. But, and it's okay if it is.
yeah.
But yeah, that's
Wow.
been great.
So you've got a new relationship with the scale, Samantha. I love
Yes,
it.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And tell me
Yeah.
about the food side of things. So like you said you were worried it was going to be hard. How are you feeling
Um,
about that, what you're eating now?
yeah, I knew there were certain foods that didn't necessarily agree with my digestion or what have you, but now I really pay attention to that more. I not only know, but I heed its calls, so to speak. It's like, no, no. And I haven't quite figured out why I am more willing to, I guess, eat what I know my suits my body well, but most of the time I do. It's easier to make those choices for me. Maybe it's I don't know, the tummy challenge that we've done. Maybe it's just applying the thinking about our thoughts and our actions with that. Um, I don't know. That's something I'm still exploring.
Right,
And
right.
yeah, yeah. I don't I don't feel shame anymore. If I want whatever it is, I'll have whatever it is, and I don't feel shame about it. I and I think just that has made me want whatever it is a lot less.
Less. Yeah, right. So there's like brownies, less cookies. Like it's like, yeah, if I want it, I'm going to have it, and there's no shame. And then yeah, it's mad how that works, isn't it? When you give
Yeah.
yourself that permission, and it's like, yeah, of
Hmm.
course, like this, we want to include all the different types of food in our lives. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
yeah.
easier. It's much easier to pass up, that box of nasty donuts at work or whatever that might be. Because we usually don't pass up like a tray of carrot sticks, right? Uh, or we do
Oh,
rather.
it's not that hard. Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't that hard, but the other stuff, that I might have eaten and not even really not enjoyed at all. Um, and that's not difficult at all. Yeah, my thoughts definitely for that is, that's going to taste terrible.
Yeah,
And
it's not worth it.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely not worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
And I'm okay. Yeah. In the past, they would have been calling my name over and over. And now it's just, no, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not hard.
It's
It's
not
not
hard.
hard.
Right. Right. So there's no like,
I
oh, I'm having to
literally,
use my willpower here
no,
to
no,
tune out
I
the
really, really don't want it.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so at the beginning you said like your relationship with food in the past had been this love-hate kind of tug of war thing. How would you describe it now, Samantha?
Well, there's more love.
There's more love.
There's
Yay.
more
The
love.
balance is the
Yeah, the balance is tipped. It's I'm a, what do I want to say? I'm a work in progress. It's much better. I if I have a lot going on and um, my stress level is up for whatever reason, maybe those old thoughts are definitely more prominent, and I have to do a lot more self talk around that. But even with that, it's not as stressful as it used to be or as negative as it used to be. The negative self talk is much, 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 much less. And I'm just generally much more at ease around food and with food. And again, it's not perfect. But I also know now that doesn't exist. There isn't, it's not about being perfect. No one's perfect, and that's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm glad, and I feel like I've just come a million miles by feeling okay to eat whatever it is that I want and not feel guilty about it, but also equally feel like I want to eat what is good for me and be okay with that, and then not feel um, deprived or feel like I'm forcing down whatever it is that I feel like I should eat. Yeah,
Yeah, right. So it sounds like there's a lot more ease in this relationship now, Samantha.
absolutely a lot more ease. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Um, okay, so was there anything that surprised you about doing this work, Samantha?
I,
Sounds like there's been quite a few surprises, but
yeah. I get, the biggest one was that it actually is working for me.
this
I
is
I
good.
just I mean, after you've tried so many different um diets, I hate even using that word because it's not a diet. Um Approach to eating, I guess you would say. If I've tried so many things, I've spent so much money, I've tried if think of anything, and I have tried that. And so I guess I'm still surprised. I guess not so much the program, but more with myself, because I knew whether I was felt I was successful or unsuccessful, that it would be a result of me, not the program. I had no doubt about that. So that's been my biggest, probably definitely a biggest surprise. Like, wow, it's actually worked.
Yeah.
And um
I can lose weight and not be miserable.
I
Amazing.
I was not miserable. No, I wasn't miserable. And again, I'll go back to the scale thing, because that's such a huge surprise. Um, and it's such a helpful tool. Yeah, it's been such a helpful tool.
Yeah.
Both to know um that, oh yeah, of course it's this number because I ate thus and such, but also like surprising in that uh, um our weight isn't always necessarily about eating or overeating. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's other
There are a lot of
things that
other
have
yeah, there are a
yeah.
lot of other factors. And there have been times where I thought the scale would definitely creep up, and it didn't. In fact, it was the opposite. So it's made me wonder how much in the past I've missed out on just learning how my body works and how my body responds to nourishment, that I know now that I didn't know in the past. Um, Growing up as a teenager in the 80s, it was it, it was just very much, if you wanted to change your body, you had to starve. You had to starve. You had to starve. And so that's been a huge surprise for me, that
Mm.
it actually worked for me. I told myself that for years, that if I ever wanted to lose anything, if anything ever had to be, if I ever wanted anything to change, I had to be okay with not eating. And that's
Yeah.
that's not true. We have
Well,
to
it
eat.
actually, yeah, that's right. Because it's
And
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And in actual fact, the not eating part drives overeating later. So it actually compounds the problem.
absolutely.
So knowing that now,
Yeah,
it's like that starvation is not
yeah,
only doesn't feels miserable, but it just doesn't work. So like,
absolutely.
yeah,
And
so
I
like,
knew that. I
yeah,
knew
you
that,
had the evidence.
but I felt that that would have been the only way for me to make a change. That I would have to go against what I knew was wrong, but that, yeah. So that's been a huge transformation. That's been a huge surprise.
Yeah.
That, oh wow, this does apply to me. Yeah.
If I give myself permission to eat and let myself feel
Mm-hmm.
satisfied, it avoids future overeating and it, like, yeah, I can still I will lose weight that
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so great, Samantha.
Yeah.
And so who would you recommend the Naturally Healthy Club to?
Um, I definitely, I think it can help a lot of people, but I definitely think if it's somebody that, like me, feels like they have tried everything they can and nothing has worked for them, if somebody is looking for something that is truly doable and I think sustainable, that's another surprising thing. it has to be, whatever you do, it has to be something that you can do forever, right? That you can continue to do, because it's you're going to drive yourself crazy. It's definitely going to build that. um you can't build trust with your own intuition, your own knowledge with your body, if it's not something that you can continue to do. And so if you are ready for a different approach from what you've tried in the past, this would be great. If you are ready for something where you're not counting every little calorie, every little fat gram, every little this, um, then this would definitely be for you. If you're looking for something that um, you can see positive changes almost immediately, then yeah, definitely. If, pardon me, I think it applies and would be helpful for somebody that doesn't even need to lose a lot of weight or any weight. If you just want to um, be able to let go of that stress and angst around your relationship with food and your how your body feels in response to what you eat, I think it would be good for that.
Yeah, right. So they're, yeah, like having that peaceful relationship with food too.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
I think if you're ready to try a different approach and you have had um, sort of a conversation with yourself, I definitely did in the beginning, that you are willing to maybe try some things that um, feel different, that maybe you think they won't work, but again, well, all I can do is try, and be okay with that, then I think it would be good for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Samantha. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we wrap up, Samantha?
Um, uh, I like that I have continually felt like this was moving me forward the entire time. I never felt like I was moving backwards. I might, I guess I would have to look at it on a graph, so to speak. So I might have dipped down at some point, but I liked that you had um, guidelines in place, so to speak, that we could just pick right up. I really liked that. So if somebody's looking for something that has sort of a safety net for when you're feeling like, hey, this isn't working for me, I think this could be really good,
Yeah.
because you were so good at listening to people. You're really good at that, and intuitively knowing what somebody needs and maybe what part of the program they should focus on for their particular needs. That was really great. It
Great.
wasn't just a set program and you either follow those fat grams and those calorie counts, or you don't. So that was really good.
Yeah, okay.
So
So having
yes,
that
we're
flexibility to focus on
absolutely.
different things depending on your needs at the time is
Yes.
helpful.
Yes. Yeah. Because that was one of my fears that, oh, I've got to do this and this and this and this. And then when you gave permission that, well, just don't do that part. Oh, I can do that? Oh, okay. And
See you later.
yeah, that was really that was really nice. That was really nice. So don't I wouldn't want somebody to not do it thinking that okay, that's a lot or yeah. Be
Right.
willing to try, but also know that there are different paths to success within the program.
Yes, and it's up to
Yeah.
you to find and like for us to work together to find like the
Yes.
combination that's right for you. But what
Yeah.
naturally healthy looks like for Samantha is different from what naturally healthy looks like for someone else. So yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
And if you're willing to put in the work to find that path, it will definitely work for you. Yeah.
yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks so much, Samantha. Always good to talk to you.
Thank you.
So to be like Samantha and give the Naturally Healthy Club a go, because really you do have nothing to lose by trying just one more thing. If you've already got a big pile of things that you've tried, adding one more thing to that isn't going to make that much of a difference. And you have the potential to this time next year be losing a significant amount of weight and also bringing more, like going from having that love hate relationship with food to bringing a lot more love into your relationship with food. And also like letting go of this shame and guilt around what you're eating. And without having to do any of this perfectly, then I really invite you to apply for the Naturally Healthy Club. So last group sold out. So make sure you get your application in ASAP. So just go to thestonesoup.com/group and get in your application or check out the link in the show notes. And really, like, worst case is you stay where you are with just one more failure uh, on that pile. But the best case is that you become like Samantha and that this completely changes your life and your relationship with food and your body and your energy levels and all the things. So you really have nothing to lose. Come and let me help you.